I made a fishing game, but you play as the fish. Usually in these fishing games you get to play as the fisherman catching the big fish, but have you ever wondered what would it be like if you were the fish? To answer that question, I made my own fishing game, but you get to play as the fish. Now I know they've made games like Hungry Shark where you're playing as a shark eating other fish, but what if you were the little guy fighting to stay alive? Stay to the end because this game gets so chaotic. So first we needed a fish. Now I want this to be a fun cartoony game, so the first thing I did was open up my drawing app and I created this cartoon fish. I gave everything a big outline and tried to make it have a lighthearted style. Next I opened up Unity and I started working on making you able to control the fish. I set it up so he's always looking at your mouse, and then I noticed it was flipping over, so to fix that I made it so if your mouse is on the right side of the fish it will flip the sprite to always face upwards. Then, before we added the movement, we needed somewhere to be able to go, so I created these rocks that will act as a barrier for the map. Then I made it so when you press the W key, your fish will move to where your mouse is. This looks good, but the only issue is it's a little hard to tell if you're moving if the background is all blue. So to solve this, I created a bubble spray and a particle system that'll show up in the background. This was such a simple solution, but it made it feel more like underwater and fixed that issue. I also added an area outside of the water that you will not be able to swim in, but you can jump out of. The last thing I did for the player was give it this animation for when it's swimming, and now it looked even more dynamic. That was everything for the player. Next we needed a fisherman. I created this boat and then I drew the sprite for the man sitting in the boat and it was above the water. Then I created his hook and his bait. Right now it's just a sprite, but next we need him to cast his rod. To do this I made it so he'll spawn in a random position and then drop his hook to a random position in the water. Then I tested it out with multiple fishermen and it's actually really satisfying to see all their hooks go down at the same time. Now we needed something to happen when you ran into the hooks, and my idea for that was to make you get pulled up to the top slowly. This way you'll be able to fight back and try and pull yourself back down. I was also going to give the fisherman a random strength so you would have a chance to survive. This is actually a really satisfying game mechanic because you can get pulled out of the water and even keep fighting. Now at this point we had the fish and the fisherman, but there was really no game loop. My idea for the game loop is that there are going to be other fish in the sea. Some are bigger than you and some are smaller. The bigger fish will try and chase you down and you'll need to avoid them while also eating the fish that are smaller than you. By the way, I'm a small channel with only 1,400 subscribers and my goal is to get to 2,000 before school ends, so please consider subscribing. Anyways, the first thing I did for the other fish was make this green fish that's going to be smaller than you. I took the same sprite for the player and made it green and then shrunk it down a little. Then I set it up so it would wander around the map going to random positions. It would move a little slower than you so you can catch up to it still. Next, we needed a way to eat it, so I created this particle system, and when it gets eaten, instead of just destroying it and spawning another one, I made it spawn the particle system and then move to a different position in the map. This way, there will always be the same amount of fish to eat so you never run out. Then I made the big fish. I took that same sprite and made it pink, and then I started working on its mechanics. First I made it so it will always be looking at you, and then I gave it some force so it will move towards you. I also made it have less drag force in the water, and this way, instead of just following you directly, it will slowly build up force and then launch itself at you. I feel like this makes it more intense because you won't be able to see it all the time, but you'll generally know where it is. The last thing for the big fish was to make something happen when it runs into you. I could make a health bar, but I thought that would defeat the purpose of the hooks and the fisherman, so I decided to make it knock you back. This actually ends up creating some really funny moments if it pushes you into a hook, then you get launched into the air. I also created this bubble particle system that plays for some more feedback when you get hit. That was pretty much it for the main gameplay. Next we needed some UI that keeps track of your score and a screen for when the game ends. I found this free bubbly font and I put some text in the top corner of the screen that keeps track of your score. This will go up by 50 every time you eat a small fish. Then I create a game over screen that will show up when you run into a boat while you're hooked on it, and it will end the game. So, that's how I made a fishing game, but you play as a fish. I love the cartoony sprites and effects for this game and how simple everything looks. I'll leave a link in the description to the game so you can go check it out if you're interested. My best score is right around 1,000, so go see if you can beat it. Also, comment any ideas you have for a video. This idea came from one of my subscribers, Houses and Houses, so maybe your idea could be in a video too. Thank you so much for watching, and go check out this video YouTube thinks you'll love.